give one more minute, they'll close the doors, we'll get started. Good, okay. So, a little bit of a shorter session today, but definitely want to make a lot of time today to answer all of your questions and really have a discussion about this topic. It's very critical to what we're doing in Microsoft Teams. It's something we're investing in a lot. So I want to share kind of what we've done so far and then the direction that the product team is going in as well, so that you have a glimpse kind of over the next few quarters what you can expect to come from the product as well. So let's dive right in. So client deployments. There are a number of clients available, obviously. We have our desktop client, mobile client, and web client. Through the desktop client, we have provided the MSI for IT-driven installation. Using your favorite tools, SCCM or any third-party deployment tools, this is something that should be pretty familiar, pretty standard. There's not anything surprising there, hopefully. And that's something that we will continue to support and actually improve as we move along. Additionally, we are going to get embedded into the Office 365 Pro Plus monthly deployment. And so that should be an improvement as well. So why we've split it up into kind of these two sections between deployment and updates is because through the O365 monthly channel, you'll still be able to get the client out to your end users. You'll still be able to get it onto the various endpoints in your organization. However, the update cadence is something that's going to continue to be managed through the application itself. And that's something that we're going to spend the next half of the presentation talking about. So there's going to be a lot of goodness talking about the different options and configurations and manageability around that as well. Additionally, we always encourage end users to have the ability to install themselves. So the EXEs and the standalone installers, always available. So it really depends on kind of what type of managed environment that you have and how much control you're giving to your users on the client endpoints as well. So for the mobile, I just want to touch upon the fact that we do honor kind of the MDM policies, especially given if you are an Intune using organization as well. That's something that we do adhere to when you talk about conditional access policies and all of that. That's something that the mobile client is obviously going to be a good mechanism to control kind of not just the distribution, but additionally kind of logging in and so on and so forth. And finally, the web. The next slide I'll talk a little bit about this, but there's a bit of pro and con there, obviously. For the updates, the web is going to be kind of the fastest, easiest mechanism to ensure that the continual update cycle is honored. Web is updated much more frequently than the rest of our thicker clients. But on the same note, web is going to have a bit of limitations as far as what type of features we're able to make available. Now, in all the clients, something that I really want to make sure that everyone kind of recognizes is that the configuration and the policies that are applied to the user are going to push through. So despite whether users are on mobile, whether they're on desktop or web, they're still going to, the service is going to honor whatever configuration that you as the IT administrator and your organization have put in place, and it will be enforced on the client as well. And so that'll be agnostic to whatever client the endpoint that they're using. So as I said, desktop versus web, there is, a lot more robustness and kind of feature immersiveness going on with the desktop client compared to the web client. The web client does offer the advantage of having this always freshest, always newest version compared to the thick client that's going to have a bit more restriction on when and how it updates. But it doesn't offer the same the same functionality when we talk about meetings and high definition audio video in calling experiences as well. And it's going to be something that if you really want your end users to have the best collaboration experience and the most immersive experience, you're going to want to get them to have the thick client on their client endpoint as well. Okay. Just very quick, the MSI installation and uninstallation, I wanted to make sure that all folks here will obviously have access to, at Ignite, will have access to the deck as we go along. And so we've had a lot of questions around exactly which installation directories the MSI is installing to, what are the uninstallation instructions. That's something that we want to make sure that's extremely clear to folks as they continue on with their management story. And so this is a great resource here. There's a number of different published articles as well that we're rolling out as we go on, especially if you're going to use SCCM. That's something that we're putting together, a step-by-step guide. That's something that we're going to ensure that we have very clear instructions as to how you can configure the application package within the SCCM management experience, as well as how that will manifest for your end users as well. So, managing updates. This is going to be, kind of the bulk of what we're talking about in this section because there's a lot more flexibility here, and it's something that we are innovating, at a higher pace than we are at the deployment section of the client. So while the client does have this kind of the static package that we're providing to all of our customers, there's a lot more flexibility when we talk about what do we do in order to ensure that you have the best experience and the easiest time actually managing the various feature rollouts that happen with teams. And so what we see today is there are a number of tasks that we expect every IT admin to have to go through, and they're enumerated here. So when we talk about educating yourself on new features and updates, today you might be doing this through blog posts, you might be doing this through coming to Ignite, talking to folks like us, any contacts that you may have in Microsoft, any contacts you have in the community, and understanding essentially what does it mean for you when a new feature like meeting recording comes out, or when we have new call functionality coming out, or so on and so forth. And then you're going to evaluate these improvements and see, is it right for your organization? Is it something that you want to turn on? Is it something that you need to manage? Is it something that you need to ensure that only a subset of your user base gets? So that's something we want to provide as well. Additionally, if there is any quality claims or integrations that you may have built, if you're a developer that's actually integrating LOB apps, or a third-party developer or partner that's coding against teams, you're obviously going to want to do some validation, some quality testing. That's something that we anticipate we need to make sure you have enough runway for before we push forward with additional updates. Any internal reviews or audits if you're in a regulated industry, obviously, and then stage rollout is something that it touches a little bit on deployment, but also on updating as well. And so, the model that we're looking at when we're talking about, IT pros managing an organization is going to be this notion of, you have your trusted segment of users and your trusted pilot group that you want to ensure that they, have the cutting edge, the bleeding edge of what we are making available to the general populace before you roll it out throughout your entire organization. And so that's going to help them kind of run through the common workflows in your organization, additionally give you any feedback about how Teams is performing, and in turn, providing that feedback back to us. Because we're relying, of course, to hear kind of the user voice in the community, to understand what is making sense, what may not be working, and we can make adjustments as needed. Then educating folks in your organization about those changes. As you roll out to a larger audience, there's going to be kind of an increase in collateral when we talk about what we are providing to our customers as Microsoft to help you better prepare for these changes. And finally, that feedback mechanism is what I just touched upon, which is, as these changes roll out, we of course want to hear from our customers, our partners, both end users and IT pros, to understand how the change is affecting you and how it's hopefully improving the productivity workflow, and if there are any issues that you've found that have manifested as a result of these updates or changes. So the current landscape for folks that may or may not be familiar. Today, Teams, it's always updated, the thick client and the web client, of course, with the latest and greatest version of all the features that we make available. And so there's no deferral available. It's something that We don't require any user or admin intervention in order to make happen. And it's something that includes kind of the entire cornucopia of changes. So, when we're talking about security changes, when we're talking about new feature rollouts, it's all coming as one package, and it's something that, we very much understand is a lot for an admin to digest. Additionally, there are mechanisms in place to ensure that, if a version is too old to sign in, it's something that we're going to trigger that update from the get-go to make sure that you do have the latest and greatest. But if it's within a few versions, we'll let the user get on with their workflow and then actually detect when they're idle. And then from that point, during their idle time, go and actually refresh the client, reinstall, update, and then you'll see you've got the latest and greatest for Teams. Now, today, the client updates don't occur more than once a week. They're still rolling out at a fairly high frequency. But for those of you that have lived through the Skype for Business era, this is something that we've kind of put in place to address this this instantiation of multiple versions of the client causing a lot of issues within organizations. I mean, we've seen this for a very long time, not just in Skype for Business, but throughout Office, that if the users are declining updates or not willing to have kind of the latest client on their machine, it starts to cause issues. And not only that, when they call you as their help desk, as their IT professionals, it's going to cause confusion insofar as, hey, what do you see going on in your desktop right now? What version do you have? And that's kind of the start of every troubleshooting call. And we want to get away from that. We want to make sure that at least you're within the narrow band to make sure that when someone calls you, you say, okay, I already know as a given that with Microsoft Teams, you already are within kind of the rails and the guidelines that the service has assured me that it's going to work with the versions that are out in the wild. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been able to log in. So that's something that hopefully streamlines the troubleshooting process, hopefully ensures that there's better performance and better compatibility compared to what we've seen with other clients that tend to just sit and age in the wild, and you end up with this huge variation of different client versions in various organizations. So, where are we headed? For those of you familiar with Pro Plus and that are a part of that, as I mentioned before, for deployment purposes, we are absolutely going to be integrated there. And so through your monthly releases, you'll be able to rely on that for client deployment to actually get the package that you need. Now, for update, it's going to be a little bit different. And so if you're familiar a little bit with how OneDrive does it, which has a more aggressive update frequency, same thing with Microsoft Teams. Being a connected client and something that is always on and always connected to the service, we need to ensure that you do have kind of within that narrow band of compatible versions so that we can deliver the optimal experience, not just on the client, but in the integration of the services and the client. So what are we doing in order to strike that balance between what is available on the client and the frequency of those updates versus the management challenges that you as the various IT professionals face in your organizations. And so things like optimizing the network bandwidth during times so we don't just spike and consume all the bandwidth during an update cycle. And things like ensuring that there is sufficient transparency so that you actually know what's coming out in an update. We recognize that these are issues, and these are things that we want to make sure that we address as we instantiate change management controls to be provided to all of you. And so I'll go into a little bit details about how we are addressing some of them as far as transparency. We'll go through a click-through. But on some of these other points, a lot of it has to do with just our own predictability. And so this is something we're working very hard, and throughout the following quarter, you're going to start to see teams snap to a predictable and regular cadence for these updates. And that's something that you can begin to rely on, that you can begin to structure your workflow around to evaluate kind of, hey, what are the changes that are coming out with Teams? Okay, I know that updates are coming at a certain point. And so to support that, we have kind of on the right-hand side of the slide, the categorization of changes. And so why this is key to us is because even though we want to give you that predictability, we want to give you that regular cadence for updates and for change management, we still have kind of this whole spectrum of different types of changes that we'll need to land. And so, we have hot fixes, security patches, things like that. Those will always be pushed through kind of as soon as we discover them and as soon as we can make them available in a kind of a validated way to our customers to ensure that there are no issues and no security threats that afflict your end users. Now, the next level up is going to be core improvements that we're making where the actual client package, and this is something that we hear a lot, we're going to refresh the entire client package, and this is really around actually changing the framework of integration from the client to the services to make sure that you have the latest and greatest, but it won't change the end user experience. And so this is something that as an evolving web-based service, we continuously strive to make sure that we reduce the latency in communicating with the service while giving you and your end users the best experience. Now, here's where we get to kind of the more disruptive changes. So these are the next two categories. So we have the newer updated features that don't have IT controls. And so if you've been with Teams for a while, you may be familiar with, as we introduced kind of slash commands and the power bar at the top of the client. That's something that we rolled out. It's not an option for IT admins to go and change because it is core to the product. I mean, it's fundamentally, changing the way that we anticipate that end users interact with the product, but it's not something that we anticipate that IT admins are going to need and have to turn on or off for various users. Contrast that with the other features that we know have implications and concerns for certain organizations. And so an example I used before, meeting recording, we know that that's not appropriate for all users and definitely not all organizations. So we want to make sure that you have kind of the robust policy model to go and support that. And so that's something that we've been investing in a great deal, which is to provide the manageability framework to have that nuanced control. So for a given set of users or given subsets of your organization, you can go and actually change that configuration. And that's something that's going to be honored by all the clients. And that's something that we're pushing more and more for those different configuration settings to be addressed by the backend rather than client settings that you have to instantiate during installation and during deployment. Okay, so before we get to the next session, the only thing I wanted to additionally mention is, as we've talked about these various categories of changes, there's also going to be, time for evaluation for each of these. So when you talk about hot fixes, we're not expecting a long turnaround to say, hey, we think that IT pros and our various customers are going to need, weeks and weeks and weeks to understand, what the purpose of this hotfix was, or why this happened, or why this rollout happened. Same thing goes for client perf improvements or stability improvements. These are things that we've tested internally. We've done a lot of validation on. Our internal engineering teams has spent months and months and months before we actually roll that out. And given the low impact to end users, and of course, this is kind of our assessment talking to many customers, and I'll definitely leave a time to hear you folks as well. That's something that we're not going to give a huge lead time for. The other two classes of changes, however, is something that we want to ensure that given how disruptive they could be to your end users, and how much they may need to call their own internal help desk, they may need to change their day-to-day workflow. We want to make sure that they have the opportunity to test that, whether that's with a small pilot group while you ramp up your own internal documentation, or if it's something that it's just going to be kind of this stage rollout that you have kind of the more savvy users in your organization. They're going to adopt this and socialize that among their peers. And so whether you are a member of TAP Now, whether you are staying on top of all the blog posts that are coming out at a fairly high cadence and fairly high frequency, there will be the opportunity moving forward to actually have additional lead time to evaluate these changes. And so one of the things that we're building over the next few quarters, that's something that will be available to all of our customers, is the ability to say, hey, I want my organization's changes to be managed. So if you're not ready and your user base is not ready to go and digest kind of, even with a predictable cadence, and even with, to say, hey, twice a month, these updates are going to come, and they're going to come with great, coach marks and first-run experiences to educate the users in a self-service manner as far as, what's actually being affected and what's being impacted. Additionally, if you need to kind of stretch that time out, you will have the opportunity to kind of segment your organization and give them additional time to evaluate. And so that those set of manageability controls are something that we're going to be shipping soon. And it's something that we do have a lot of, I would say, leeway to kind of hear your voice and hear feedback to fine-tune essentially what options we make available. And that's part of the kind of the value add that's going to be additional beyond what you may have in Pro Plus today, where you're choosing, hey, I want the 6-month option or the 1-month option for updates and deployment. Here you're going to be able to say, hey, beyond the deployment, I actually want to control the update frequency. So, if I see that the changes are causing disruption in my organization, I need a little bit more time. That's something that we're going to make available to you as well. So, as we talk about kind of being aware of what changes are coming, the transparency is one of the biggest asks that we have constantly, which is to say, hey, how do I know what's actually lit up in my client? I'm sure everyone's had the frustrating conversation, with Microsoft or one of their partners to say, hey, I heard about this great feature. I don't see it in my client. Like, do I need to get on some special whitelist? Do I need to be part of some, program in order to get access to this? Like, how do I know when the deployment has actually hit, my organization? And so we're aiming to make that much clearer by actually incorporating the release notes and the change lists right into the administration experience. So this is a visual of the Teams Administration Center. What you see in the top right corner is actually a new widget that we're coming out with, which is about release notes and change management. Again, this will continue to evolve, continue to iterate, but if you go and access that, what you're going to be able to see is actually a repository and consolidated list of all those changes and all those release notes that before you may have had to kind of scout across the web for, look at various places. While a lot of those avenues will still be available, we still have, Coffee in the Clouds and, YouTube series and a bunch of blog posts educating, our customer base about this. As an administrator, if you happen to miss that or you don't want to go searching all over the place, we want to make sure that you just have this in one home so you can go and check and actually search across these to make sure that you understand, oh yeah, this feature did roll out and I know that this hit my tenant because I can see it in the change list in the administration center. As you can notice, we're going to include kind of the change list for all clients depending what environment your users are in. You may want to filter by one or more. So in this example, we go to the iOS client and we actually see the different sections that we're going to make available to you. So the first thing that I hope strikes you is we're trying to make this much more digestible than it's been in the past, kind of getting right in front, what you care about and what is going to have the biggest impact on your user base. And so hopefully that helps you prepare. And we're going to be continuously adding, links to multiple resources. As I mentioned, there's a big push to having kind of pre-prepared resources in order to educate your user base and educate yourselves. And so that's something that we're going to make available here. And with that, the intention is that you'll be able to embed those in the client experience. That's something that you can, post in multiple channels or send out, through whatever, vehicle that you communicate with your end user population in order to make sure that they understand, hey, this new feature has rolled out. This is how we expect you to incorporate that into your workflow in our organization, because no two are going to be exactly the same. And so first section is going to be features. Then we have our fixes going into kind of detail on any perf and stability changes, additional improvements that we've made, screenshots. This goes alongside with the collateral that we were mentioning that we're going to ensure that we provide. So right here in this example, we just have kind of visual screenshots for this change to say, hey, here's exactly what's, what may be different. You can obviously take these, send them out to your users, share them in any way that you see fit, and that should help educate you and reach out to make sure that all the user base understands, okay, this new version rolled out, this is what they can expect to see. Additionally, this isn't going to come in place of the first run experiences that are actually native to the client. So while we're trying our best to ensure that you're the most well-informed person in your organization so you can field all these questions and make sure you can advocate for adoption and usage for Microsoft Teams. We want to make sure that we're going directly to the end users as well. And so there's still that experience when they log into the client themselves. They're actually going to see, hey, okay, there's a new button here. It's going to have the right coach marks. It's going to explain to them exactly what that feature is, why it's there, why the changes occurred. And we're investing greatly in making that clearer as well. On top of that, when you talk about what administrators can do to actually change the manifestation of the client, I won't go into it as in-depth in this session, but there's a number of sessions throughout the week on managing teams overall that we've started to talk about the app management experience. And so actually being able to control kind of what manifests in the UI itself. And so, when you're thinking about that and you're saying, hey, what could be a very, I would say abrupt change or pretty, monumental change when I'm actually going to apply some configuration to a given user base and their left rail is going to change in Teams. And they're actually going to have, a completely different set of app icons there, and they may be lost. They may not understand, okay, why did this change happen? And so that's something that we want to kind of work with admins to understand what level of communication do you want the app to natively take in terms of your admin has made this change and how much transparency is there versus how much you will, as the IT pros in your organization, go and reach out and say, hey, a change is coming, there's preparedness to say, we feel that everyone, for example, could benefit from our own internal app that's going to deal with expenses and travel or, additional, other topics that make sense for our organization, and all of a sudden that appears in my left rail or in my bottom rail if I'm using mobile, and that's going to pretty shock a lot of end users, to be frank. So that's something that we can communicate on your behalf, or you can do for yourselves. And so equipping you with the tools to go in either path is really the focus here. Finally, additionally, as I mentioned, the external resources and the manageability is another big point here. And so I want to spend a little bit of time talking about the manageability aspect of this. Obviously, the external resources, it's everything I mentioned as far as having that prepackaged preparedness so you don't have to come up with scratch from tutorials and things like that. But when we talk about manageability, making sure that new features have the right controls so that you can get kind of that nuanced granularity for every new feature that's rolling out that makes sense to be controlled by the IT organization. And so, we've throughout the year have rolled out messaging policy, meeting policy, and so on and so forth. As I mentioned, we're going to be rolling out app management policies that are going to affect client behavior as well. We're continuing to invest in that model and actually making it more robust in terms of giving you the user level control to actually change the behavior, not only of the client, but of the service as well, for new features that are coming out and actually going back and cleaning up some of the existing features as well. And so that's part of our development strategy, actually. So if you talk to folks on my team, they can tell you firsthand that as we go through and kind of ideate new features and new capabilities for Microsoft Teams, it's something that a checkpoint that everyone has to pass through, which is to say, hey, does this feature merit having a bunch of manageability? Does it make sense? Is there a need? Do IT organizations want to kind of intervene and control kind of how this feature gets not only turned on, but actually how it manifests in the product as well? And so that's something that continuously will be fed into that policy framework, and also in other avenues as far as giving some of the end users some control over their own experience as well. So I want to make sure I have enough time to take a bunch of questions, because I'm sure there will be. But there's a lot of links here. I know it's fairly overwhelming, but please do take a time to take a look at the slide deck. There's a lot of sessions going on this week as far as figuring out what's new in Microsoft Teams in general, the manageability as far as how do we control the policy framework that I talked about, user level control, so on and so forth. App management and app development, I know, is a big topic going on at Ignite in general, and something that we're announcing a bunch of new features for. And then as far as change management in general in O365 and M365, that's something that is getting kind of improvements across the board. Okay. And then, of course, if you haven't checked it out already, there's the Success with Teams guide, the Coffee in the Cloud web series on YouTube, where you have Caruana and some other colleagues kind of talking about what's coming up, and very just kind of short digestible snippets on what's available and what's coming out and how best to manage and roll out different features and changes to your organization. So I want to make sure that's something that everyone gets a chance to see if you haven't checked it out already. So I know I flew through a lot of topics pretty quick. I am leaving a bunch of time because I'm more than happy to take questions, have that discussion. As I said, kind of with change management, this is something that we're going in the direction of providing a lot of improvement for. The deployment piece is not anything kind of revolutionary in terms of making that MSI and the different installers available. MDM is kind of a very known, trodden path as far as kind of mobile rollout within your organization. Updates is really where we have a lot more flexibility. So you'll see over the coming quarters and the coming months that we begin to roll out a bunch of controls that give you that flexibility and that give you that kind of control and ownership over how these changes manifest in your organization. Okay, so feel free, come up to the microphone. Yeah?
Thank you for the presentation. I have 3 quick questions.
Sure.
So the date of the release teams will be part of Office installations. And when this comes, will Skype also be there? And the third one is, when Teams is part of Office, is it going to put itself in the startup menu like Skype is doing now?
Sure. So let's start with the first one. So the date of Teams installation, if I understand correctly, that's something that's going to be, for deployment, it's still going to be part of the monthly cadence if you're part of Pro Plus. If you are downloading Teams out of band, then that update cadence is something that there's going to be kind of the published and known cadence, every 2 weeks. We're going to have kind of that update frequency that's going to become predictable over the next few months. So that's something that you can see and kind of set your clock to as far as, yeah, I know that, every 2 weeks on this day, Teams is going to update, provide me the new features that I need. As far as Skype for Business, that's something that currently, it's still part of the installation with Office in general. As we upgrade folks and different organizations choose to upgrade to Teams, and there's multiple sessions here, so I'm not going to steal too much of their thunder. That story is going to change a little bit as far as whether or not Skype for Business is available, because it really depends on kind of where you are in the upgrade journey for Teams as well. For kind of the foreseeable future, the Skype for Business, the client is going to still be invaluable in order to join Skype for Business meetings, because that is kind of the optimal experience if you do any kind of federation join. So even though your organization may have upgraded to Teams, if you work with another organization that is on Skype for Business, you'll still want to have the Skype for Business client available in order to join their meetings with the full experience. And I'm sorry, what was the final question? Yep. So will it be part of the start menu? Is that the last one?
No, the startup, yes.
Startup, yes. So the answer to that is yes. Teams is part of the startup as well. That is something that is being worked on as well. We've heard that requirement many times as well. Any other questions? Go ahead.
Good morning. So would the servicing channel of Office 365 impact the update frequency of Teams?
It will not. So Teams is decoupled as far as the update frequency, and it will be going on its own cadence. That's part of why we're kind of talking about, giving you controls within Teams management itself to control that update frequency, because it is going to be kind of a separate entity than the Office 365 client updates. Mostly because in order to ensure that, again, this is an always-on, always-connected client and service, it's something that we need to ensure compatibility with the backend and ensure that we don't let kind of the sprawl of versions occur.
So it wouldn't really affect test pilot groups which are on monthly channel and the rest which are on semi-annual?
Correct.
Thank you.
Hi. Sorry, I just want to ask two questions.
Yes.
The first is, what is Microsoft's roadmaps with Teams and Skype for Business? Currently in our organization, we've started rolling out Teams, but we obviously want to move over to Teams completely and drop Skype for Business. But with user adoption, obviously, it's sort of saying we have to get to a point where we say, well, we're not going to support Skype for Business anymore, and we're just going Teams, which is what we want to try to say. But I mean, as long as Skype for Business is still around, you're still going to have users that want to use it because they've been using it for the last couple of years.
Of course, yep. So again, there's a number of sessions that are going to kind of deep dive into the migration. The short answer to that is, Microsoft is going to continue to support Skype for Business for the foreseeable future. It's still something that a lot of our organizations and our customers use heavily. So it's not something that overnight we're going to say, hey, we're pulling the plug on, we're not supporting anymore. Having said that, you do have the controls, and you will get additional controls in terms of moving your own users and upgrading them to Teams as you move along. And as time goes on, organizations are going to have kind of Microsoft start to reach out and say, hey, we notice you're still using Skype for Business. Can we help you upgrade to Teams? And that's going to be a parallel process as well. So is Microsoft going to come in and tell your users, hey, you can't use Skype for Business anymore? No, that's not something that we're going to march in to your organization and do right now. But it's definitely something that will enable you as the IT admin to go and make that call. And actually, there's really great UI treatments to actually show, hey, if you log into Skype for Business, but my IT admin has upgraded me, it'll say, your organization has chosen to move you to Teams, or you've been upgraded to Teams, and click in and actually launch the Teams client as well. And so there's a lot of hooks to kind of push folks to that adoption. And there'll be more metrics on that as well.
Okay, cool. And then the one thing is your admin center, the Skype for Business and the Teams admin center. We've only got islands mode view at the moment. When are you adding more options and features to it?
So the answer is soon. There's as I said, there's a number of sessions just on this topic that they'll go into kind of a more in-depth roadmap. But over the coming months, you'll see additional options kind of roll out. And actually, one of the things that we're relying on is the notion of app management. I don't want folks to get the wrong opinion. It's not just third-party or LOB apps. When we talk about messaging, calling, meeting, those are apps to us. Those are our own internal first-party apps. And so, especially as you're going through various modes for upgrade, you're going to want to be able to control, hey, what's still in Skype for Business, what's in Teams. If you're an on-prem or hybrid organization, it's the same kind of story. You're going to want to say, hey, what's in the cloud versus what remains on-prem. And so the app management topology to say some things are enabled, some things are disabled, that's going to become indispensable when you're talking about configuring a specific user so that they don't start using the same modality in two environments and kind of get themselves confused. And so those two are going to come hand in hand when they're released. So as you see kind of app management roll out, so you'll see additional modes roll out as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Hi. What are the path for customers having Skype Online Plan 2 and not Office Pro Plus to go to Teams?
So again, this is kind of the question around upgrade in terms of when are folks going to be move forward, I'm assuming, right? From one client to the other. And so, even with all the existing service plans and licenses that Microsoft makes available, Teams should already be available to those users. And so it's going to be a combination of, when Microsoft actually designates an organization is going to be upgraded, and we'll, as I said, we'll reach out to those IT admins to ensure that they're ready to move forward. And additionally, you as the IT admin for an organization can target those specific users and say, hey, whatever plan you're in, I can go and upgrade you to Teams. And so when you talk about client deployment in that context, it's going to be a mix of you can proactively push the Teams client out via the MSI installer or having your users install it themselves or a number of other avenues. Or the actual Skype client, if your users actually have administration rights, they can go and the Skype client will actually direct them to go install Teams themselves.
So the licensing is not connected with Office 365, so the licenses for Skype Online Plan 2 will be sufficient?
It should be, yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Good.
In regards to how you guys push your updates out,
yep.
I heard in the keynote the largest Teams installation right now is around 90,000
yep.
clients. If all of those come online, say Monday morning, and decide, hey, I want to pull an update.
Yep.
What considerations have you built into the product to make sure that there's throttling on the network and all those types of concerns that you might have as a large enterprise?
Absolutely. Great question. So there are a number of things that are happening today and a number of things that are being built in the future. So what's happening today is actually that logic that's detecting, hey, when are users actually idle? And so it's not just, hey, I started my team client, it's immediately going to update. It's going to be a case of, I start my team client, it's going to wait for kind of a lull for that specific user before it actually pulls the update. And so that, coupled with the fact that even from our end, from Microsoft's end, we don't push out an update 100%. We roll that out in stages. And so you'll see kind of not all your users in a specific organization are getting it all at once. It's going to happen gradually over the course of a couple days. More or less. Now, what we're building in the future is actually the ability to designate, hey, here are my business hours. Here are the times where I absolutely do not want my users to be interrupted. And in that case, you'll actually be able to set specific policies on when the client can go and update. And so, if you deal with a lot of, other high bandwidth activities, you can actually stagger that for specific users. And that's going to be, it should be on a per user basis for you to be able to kind of stage that out for given pilot groups versus the general populace.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep, absolutely.
Hey, hi, great. Can you give me a little more clarification on the Teams integration with Pro Plus?
Absolutely. So Teams will be part of Pro Plus in terms of installation. So if you're part of Pro Plus and you subscribe to kind of the monthly cadence for client deployment, that's something that, if a user does not have the Teams client yet, that's something they're going to get as part of that. Now, once a user already has Teams, Pro Plus is kind of in the back seat, so to say, because the update is going to be managed separately. So today, as I mentioned, the update is something that happens automatically, but there's going to be a different set of controls that's going to be kind of the robustness around, as I mentioned to the other gentleman over there, business hours, things like that, in terms of when and how the updates actually roll out.
So we're actually part of the install. So if we're deploying Office, we have in the
Teams will be part of that.
The XML, we have a
Yes,
Teams
yes,
option.
yes.
All right, cool. Thank you very much.
Yep.
When's the first month when the update is going to push Teams to Pro Plus?
I can't commit to exactly when, but it'll be over the next few months. So it'll no. There will be a lot of announcement for that. Don't worry.
Can you speak to, and maybe you don't know the answer, I've asked every session, Dynamic 911 for Teams?
Dynamic 911 for Teams. It is something that we're working on.
It's a major roadblock, and I'm
Yep.
sure for people in this room also. So.
Yep. It is something that we are working on. It's something that as we move forward with kind of enterprise voice and parity between Skype for Business and Microsoft Teams, it's something that we are building towards. I don't have a specific date for you, but I will say it's coming.
Thank you.
Yep.
So limited disk space and thin clients, we have a large subset of users that are on them. Is there ever anything in the roadmap for deploying out as a system level or an app V application or some sort of self-contained package instead of having it installed into each user profile?
Yep. It's something that we are evaluating. Improvements that we're making to kind of at least alleviate some of the problems there is in terms of the size of the updates themselves. So we're looking into actually, instead of deploying the whole client fresh every time when we do an update, we're actually going to thin that down and when possible, actually just deploy deltas, just the update bits if possible. And so that's something that should help out because the update directory at least will be a little skinnier than what it is today. But we are looking into kind of to see, how we can further refactor it so that, we just deploy it once to the system. We don't have kind of copies around for every user. It's something that we're actively working on.
Yeah, we'll have like a thin client with
Yep,
50
yep,
users
yep.
logging in, and it'll just completely fill up 64 gigs.
Totally understand. I agree.
Hi, we're using non-persistent VDI sessions, and I'm wondering how long we can stay on the release cycle for the software.
Could you clarify a little bit more? What do you mean?
We don't update our environment for about a year.
Okay.
So how long, when will be forced to update?
What, are you in the multi-tenant deployment cloud?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk after the session. I'll give you more information. It's not something that we are generally supporting, but depending how your organization's provisioned in O365, we can absolutely chat about that.
Hey, so I might be able to find this information from the other sessions, but from the keynote, we were told that Teams is already supporting all the features that we have on Skype for Business.
Mm-hmm.
Is that really the case, fully on par in terms of meeting and conferencing?
Yes, I will stand by what the keynote said.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we can deep dive if there's a specific feature that you feel is lacking or different. I will say that in the transition from Skype for Business to Teams, there are changes, and so I think that there may be a bit of confusion to say, hey, I had exactly this behavior in Skype for Business. I have different behavior in Teams. We consider parity. If I can complete the same scenario and it's meeting the same user need, maybe it's a little bit different. Hopefully, it's improved, but that should be considered parity. If there is a real use case where we say, wow, I did it this way in Skype for Business, and that is a must for my organization, that's something absolutely we'll want that feedback. We'll go and take a look at that to see if we can do anything to alleviate that.
So all the features that have been implemented or deployed on Teams so far, like it will get pushed automatically. We don't have to worry about it. It will just get updated on the end client directly.
Correct.
For now.
Correct.
But that's going to change in the very near future, right?
Yes. So you still have the option to go with that evergreen cycle and to say, hey, I always want to get, I don't want to touch anything. I want my users to always have this automated update cycle. And that's wonderful. We love to hear that. But we're getting a lot of feedback to say we need a bit of manageability around that in terms of when and how those updates occur. And so while we won't let you go too long without getting the updates, you have a little bit of control and flexibility as to how those updates get applied.
And the updates is going to be cumulative. It's not going to be like when you have updates, we actually have to download the entire file, and it will install it for the end user directly, and it will create like interruption for the end users that they will not be able to use like Teams and also some other apps that are currently running maybe. Like that's the thing that we are trying to avoid as well. And I know that with my situation, we have companies on remote sites, and they might not have the the biggest bandwidth on the site, so it's going to be like painful for us to be able to handle people who are saying, hey, it's starting to slow down for their side because they are doing it for other things, right?
Absolutely. So there's a couple things to unpack there. One, let's start in reverse. So the bandwidth aspect of it, this is what I was mentioning to the other gentleman before. We're working to kind of slim down the size of the updates. That's one thing. The other thing is, something else I mentioned before as far as designating exactly what business hours are critical to you, and so that we don't kind of interrupt that. So if there is a time when a specific site is maybe, not open or not engaging in kind of their most critical activity, we can target that as kind of the window when we want to go and actually make those updates. Additionally, if you're familiar with how Teams does their updates today, it's not something that's launching like an installer and actually interrupting from an end user perspective their workflow. It's all happening in the background, so it's not something that they're going to see and they're going to go, oh man, what's going on with my machine? It'll be next time they click into Teams, it'll say you've got the latest update. Hopefully. If they happen to click on it while it's doing that installation, it'll literally just show them kind of the Teams logo and say, hey, we have an update in progress. Okay. So we're hoping as much as possible with the control around kind of business hours and the predictability of when the upgrades are happening to minimize the amount of occurrences when a user actually goes, I need to go and do something for my day and get that message. It'll just be, hey, I click on it and goes, you've got the latest and greatest. So that's what we're striving for.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Hi, quick question.
Yep.
Beta testing for the Teams client.
Yep.
Is that possible for the IT professional? And how do you prevent your end users from doing the beta tests as well?
Absolutely. So today that is done through the preview program that we have available. Now, in the future, as I was mentioning before, we will give you the ability to segment the user population, and that's something that you can segment based on saying departments say, hey, the IT professionals are these set of users, and so say these set of users are going to get the updates sooner than the rest of the population. There's still going to be a window that we're figuring out exactly what that time frame is in terms of how long they'll have it before it'll be made available to the regular user populace. But in the case of features that have manageability built into them, then it's something that they can, IT can go and say, we're not done beta testing it, we're not done preparing ourselves, we'll turn it off for the regular users until we feel ready, and then you turn it on. For other changes that are more core to the product, like I use the example of the search bar with slash commands and all that, it's something that over the course of time, eventually that will roll out to users. So it will be a limited finite window.
Gotcha. And that site is on the O365 admin portal that you were showing, or?
It'll be through the Teams admin center to start with. Yep.
Great. Thanks.
Yep.
Apologize, I know you touched on this a few times.
For
but
sure,
from
for
an
sure.
idle perspective, is
Yes.
it idle in the Teams client or is it idle on the device?
Idle in the Teams client.
Okay, so it's still possible. I mean, say a site with 2,000 people who 60%, 70% are laptop/mobile. They could all reach out and be pulling that at the same time if their Teams client is idle, but they're still working.
Yeah, and let's not, I guess I don't want to mix the downloading of the bits of the client to the actual update process. So the idle process, the idle check is 100% happening to ensure that the update process itself is not interrupting the work. The downloading bits is kind of governed separately, and so that will happen in that staged manner that I was mentioning before, that to a given set of users, we'll go and tell the client, hey, go and download the latest updates. So that's not going to happen to all users at a given site right away. And that's something that will give you more control as time goes on to dictate when that happens.
So we've used, obviously, Config Manager to try to optimize a lot of that traffic over our network.
Of course.
Do you see us eventually getting the ability to put all of this into that ecosystem, or is it just going to always be Teams is going to go do its thing?
More and more that we will try to kind of integrate into the existing management solutions for network optimization. So it's something that we're definitely looking at. I don't have a specific date for you, but I can tell you that we are exploring a number of different options for how we would integrate.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Is that user segmentation that you talked about for beta testing based on underlying Office groups? Are we going to have to manipulate groups to make that happen, or?
It will be. Today, if you're familiar with Teams management, we don't do group-based management. We do it by user, but that's something that we are actively working on right now. And so we're actually going to be working on incorporating security groups into policy management. And so this will follow the same policy model that we already have in Teams that you may see for messaging or meetings or something like that.
So I have been asked a question. Is Team client, the thick client, can be available on Linux operating system? Right now I'm telling customers saying go and use the web client.
Correct.
But is there a plan?
For the foreseeable future, it is not available for Linux.
Okay, and the second question is for a customer who has a very strict download or policies, because they're very strict about their network, how they will handle the updates, what you're talking about, because it's not going to work, the dynamic, it will not allow anybody to go and get it. So.
Sure. It depends on exactly what the environment is, and we can talk in more detail if you want to come to the stage in a little bit, but or meet me outside. But essentially, the drops that we provide on our site will be the latest and greatest. So they could get very aggressive with just essentially reinstalling the client all the time, and give it, hopefully, if that's within the parameters, and it really depends on their cadence of how often they're willing to do that, they could kind of skirt around to say, hey, we don't have to update because we're all the time reinstalling. It's not an optimal solution, but it's something that I would love to understand exactly what the restrictions are to better understand it.
I'll talk to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You had mentioned before that Skype for Business and Teams is on par with each other feature-wise, but is there a matrix or a document that has application features across all devices, iOS, Android, Mac, and Windows, so we can easily see, what features may not quite be there across every device? Because, in my testing, I've seen some variation.
So there is documentation online to describe essentially specific areas of features. I don't know that there's a comprehensive list to say, hey, every single feature in Skype for Business and every single feature in Teams to compare based on environment. But I know if you're interested in a specific area, like voice or like meetings, that should be available. Yeah. It'll be segmented essentially by scenario today in the documentation. But it's something that we can look into if that's a real need.
Where can we find that information?
So it's in the deck, the links at the end. One of the links was actually describing that.
Great, thanks.
Okay, one more.
I'll make this one quick.
Sure.
With the integration into the click-to-run monthly deployment,
yes.
Is the Teams client going to automatically launch once click-to-run has been updated? And if so, is there an admin control we can do to say don't automatically launch?
Currently, it will automatically launch, but it is something that we are working on to actually change that. So.
Any idea on a time frame?
I can't give you a specific time frame, but it is something we're actively working on.
Cool. Thanks.
Yep. I'll be outside if anyone has any additional questions. Thank you so much.